There is no such a thing as an intimate event with 50 people in the room.
No.
That doesn't exist, you know?
If anybody's telling you that, don't buy it.
That doesn't exist.
We need to make a festival that is affordable for everybody. Maybe we need to bring less artists, but if we bring less artists and rent a smaller venue, is that going to attract people to come in and join us?
I have been noticing that sometimes we start the conversation about the event by the fear of not being able to pay for it. And the fear ends up making you take several decisions that push you away from the initial intention.
And let me be honest here. If there are enough learning opportunities in your community, we don't need weekenders all the time. If there are weekenders all the time, we probably don't need festivals all the time. If there's festivals all the time, we're in big trouble. Like, honestly.
Yes.
Guys, no.
So it was one of the few times that we had the opportunity to teach a group of intermediate dancers that were actually intermediates and a group of advanced dancers that were actually advanced. Because I think we could use more opportunities, more events in which it's a very clear why that event exists.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode. My name is Alisson Sanji, and let's welcome back our beautiful co-host, Gui Prada. Hello, Gui.
Hello, Alisson. Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the fear that drives all event organizers. I understand a lot of you in the audience are not event organizers yourselves, but we think that this is an important conversation to have to let you know what's going on and why things don't always present themselves as they were first introduced, eventually present themselves. So the first thing that we want to bring to the table here is that fact that sometimes organizers ourselves say, oh, we can't afford this. But then we think about, well, but to afford this, I need to bring more artists. So the math doesn't work, does it? We need to make a festival that is affordable for everybody. But to be affordable for everybody, maybe we need to bring less artists or rent a smaller venue. But if we bring less artists and rent a smaller venue, is that a festival that is going to attract people to come in and join us? Is that attractive at all? Are we doing a small weekender? Are we doing a small festival? Or even sometimes it's confusing. Are we doing a small festival that is more like a large weekender?
Mm-hmm.
Guys, patience. This is going to be one of those episodes that we go everywhere because as organizers, as artists, but also as people who do attend other festivals, this is something that we really connect with because all of us want the best for the community, the most affordable, the most inclusive. But at the same time, it's hard to please everybody. Not that we're trying, but we try our best to please majority.
As many people as possible.
Yes.
One of the big blessings of this work that we do is the ability of traveling many places, visiting many communities, and basically facilitating in many different kinds of events. And as we do that, in my experience at least, I have been noticing all these different models of organizing events, of running events, and the mentality behind organizing the event. And I think it's, again, another epiphany of this long trip that I've been having, something that has been staring me in the face for some time. And now I start to realize this more and more and more, associating also with how I live my life and how I think about things in general, which is the mentality that drives, the driving mentality for us to do whatever it is that we are doing. And in specific case of Brazilian Zouk events, I have been noticing that sometimes we start the conversation about the event, we start thinking about how we're going to do this by the fear of not being able to pay for it. So you witness witnessed by seeing other people go through this process and ourselves as well. When we start thinking about the event, we start thinking about also the intention of the event. What is it that we want with this event? Do we want it to be small and intimate for a smaller group of people, big for as many people as possible? What is the intention of the event? And right after that, how I'm going to pay for it. And the fear of not being able to pay for it ends up making you take several decisions that push you away from the initial intention. And this is something that I've been witnessing throughout time. And now I think I'm just more attentive to it, pay attention to it, because I was able to participate in events in which the intention is kept over the cost. So there is a financial system put together that allows for some give, and when talking with some organizers, they say, man, if we break even, it's great. But that's not the point, So some people make the events with a very specific intention. And if they're not able to fully pay for the event, that's not the end of the world. That doesn't refrain them from doing the event in the first place. Of course, stuff needs to be paid. Of course, we are not saying that they are open to lose all the money. What we're saying is that I have witnessed organizations where there is a system in place that provides them a financial support way before they start thinking about the event. And I found that to be really cool, because then you are able to maintain the initial intention of the event. So the driving force is not a mindset of scarcity, a mindset of, I'm not going to have this, or I need this to get that. The mindset is different. And when you take part in that event, it's so different. To teach is different. The people in the room, the level of engagement, because you are able to create something that is more intentional. You are able to say no to people. You are able to create tracks where the people who are in each track are actually able to take that track because they have enough experience for that track. So you have more room to curate the experience. And man, that has been such a powerful realization, even for myself too, when creating events. It's like we need to pay for it. And then we need to sell as many tickets as we can to pay for the event. So when we do that, we end up needing to let go of some of the initial ideas that excited us in the first place. So I don't know how you go about that, Addison, but this has been a very powerful realization of mine since I started traveling again this year.
Yeah, over the years, I've been lucky to have the opportunity to organize BraZouky festivals in multiple places. And with the struggles, even before BraZouky, organizing weekenders in Melbourne or in Perth, and seeing how that goes, as well as being part of other events as I was traveling, I collected a lot of data. So then when I went into BraZouky, I was like, okay, this is what I'm willing to do. And I think this is going to work this way. For Australia, we went into a launch festival and then a large festival. So that was okay. The market was back then underserved. So we were in a prime position to do it. No issues. The event ran just as we wanted. But then when we thought, okay, let's do another version. Maybe let's go to the US now because I was living there. But instantly when that idea came through and we did some financial research, market research, I thought, okay, there's no way we're going to start the way we did Australia. Okay, we need to do a BraZouquinho, as I called it, which was like a large weekender, a cross between like a very large weekender and a very mini festival to set the expectations. And I put that in the event page, on the website, in all of the promotions, saying it and proposing it this way, because I didn't want to set the expectation that people are coming to BraZouky Festival, this very famous festival from Australia. Oh my God, this is going to be huge. No. I am the kind of person who prefers to underpromise and overdeliver. So at that point, I was like, okay, what are we going to do? We're going to use a small dance school. That's what it is. That's what we can. We're going to have this type of artists because that's what we can afford. And always thinking about how can I deliver the best with this amount of things that I have. That doesn't mean I didn't lose money on any of the other BraZoukis that I've done, whether it's Australia, Vietnam, Germany, or the US. There were moments that we were like, okay, we didn't pay the bills, but okay, we take from here, go from there, we do some magic and things work out. But did we deliver what we wanted to deliver with the budget we had? We did. Did we meet the sales target we wish we did? We didn't. But that's okay. At least we delivered the product as we promised without compromise. And what are the compromises? For example, in our event, we don't sell day passes. We keep the ratio between leads and follow passes as equal as possible so people can have a better experiences in classes and in socials. Things that we could do is just like, well, we're not selling, we're not paying the bills. Let's just sell more followers tickets. Nobody's going to know. Who's going to know? Nobody's going to know. No, we never did that. But we see that. We see that a lot of the times because of the fear or maybe because of how they planned the event initially is now completely changed 3 or 6 months after they started planning, that people just completely changed the concept of the event and going from like a small, intimate, intensive event with these top couples, it turns into like a party, holiday, everybody can come, whatever happens, happens. Just because in the end of the day, if they didn't switch, they didn't pivot, they would lose a lot of money.
Yeah.
Can we blame them? It's tough. But the only thing that I do as an organizer is that whenever things happen that way, I will come and be honest with the people. I'll say, hey guys, we're going to have to do something like this. We're going to have to do something like that. Multiple years, I come to the artists and I say, hey guys, things are a little tough this year. Can we renegotiate based on this amount of sales? But then if we reach this amount of sales, we're going to pay you what we promised. Like, we do things, but that's not the point of this episode. The point here is that we want to make sure that we either over-deliver or at least don't compromise.
Yeah. It's really challenging when you look at the costs. Yeah. Really intense. If you list things, if you're curious, just ask your local organizer, local teacher, how much it costs for them to run their regular class, for example, or how much it costs for them to run the social. Recently on Facebook, we had people writing from some communities apologizing for the increase of the cost of the social from $10 to $15. And because it has been $10 for many years, and they realized with $10, they could not pay the room, they could not pay the DJs, they could not pay for the sound. So they needed to raise for $15 and they apologized for it, And sometimes they don't even break even raising the price. So completely acknowledging that aspect is true. The flip side of it, playing devil's advocate here a little bit, is you want to create an event that is more intimate. There is no such a thing as an intimate event with 50 people in the room.
No.
That doesn't exist,
If anybody's selling you that, don't buy it.
That doesn't exist. Someone that teaches a room with 50 to 70 people is far from being an intimate, cozy event. Even if you have many hours with that group, that doesn't work. It would work if you had days with that same group, days, and that is on a retreat level of events.
But I would say 30 is a cap.
Yeah.
Ooh, for an intimate event,
Exploding cap. Yes.
That's it. Like no more than 30 and
no.
Probably with some like audition type of thing, or at least pre-selection through videos or something like that? Because otherwise it's not a exclusive, intimate event.
Far from it. Really far from it. And the thing is, your initial intention as an organizer is to give the people that level of depth and that level of connection with the facilitator and the other participants. The thing is, then you realize, oh my gosh, I need to pay for the room. There are so many days and so many hours.
Oh my God, they need to eat 3 times a day.
They need to eat 3 times a day. Oh wow, the plane ticket, I don't know, is that expensive. So maybe we can open 10 more spots. Maybe we can open 20 more spots. Maybe we can do a party pass. People just come for the party. And then you start diluting the initial proposition. I have seen this with events that are supposed to be intimate, with events that want initially to be a retreat, but then sell the party passes and day passes, and then you lose the container that it needs to be created for it to be a true retreat. The retreat is you retreat. And you move away, and then you stay with that group, and then you go back. If you have people trickling in, then you lose the idea of the retreat. And level control. That's another thing too. When you level control, you have not only to go through a process of selection of some sort, but you also have to say no to people. And when you need to say no to people, that creates backlash in some shape or form. People don't want to go to the events. And then you do miss some sales, So I have been seeing this so much, guys, and thinking of how can we do different, or how can we really stay true to the initial intention of the event. I was in Brazil this last year, 2025. He did 2 events. And there was many people there in these events that they were there because they was hoping it to be something different, something more intentional. Some people that haven't been going to events, going to socials in quite some time because they wanted something more in depth, more intentional with the same group, different socials, different classes, and realizing then that there are people out there that really want this kind of event. And this kind of event, I mean, not necessarily the small, intimate ones. I mean, events with a very intentional proposition and that keep it, that keep that proposition. So we somehow need to face the reality of costs, really tackle it, understand that there is there, and not start the event with the fear of not being able to pay for it, which leads you to make decisions that push you away from the initial idea of the event. And I can see how that is difficult. Yeah, but we have been trying. We have been really trying, and with good results, I think. With Master of Social Dancing, the Leaders Training, some of the things that I have tried and done, where you have all this very particular design for the event to go through, and the event happens. When I was planning this trip almost a year ago, talking to the organizers, I could see their hesitation to go for a weekend or to go for something due to the fear of not being able to pay. When they see the cost of the flights, when they see the cost of everything, and they tell you, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to pay, and we almost needed to do like a small therapy session with the organizers to give it a go, give it a trust. Like we establish some dates. If we don't sell this many tickets up to this point, we cancel, no problem. Let's give ourselves some deadlines. The events overall worked well, fine. But the initial fear when wanting to do that was really, really present. Really, really present.
And I think that comes from the passion that the people in the community have in organizing something unique, right? Everybody's like, oh, there's so many festivals everywhere. We want something more like this. What if somebody organized something more like this or like that? And then somebody goes and organizes it, and then nobody buys it. And then they start freaking out. And then people come to you and say, oh, I really want to go to the event, but they don't have party pass.
Yes.
And then the organizer goes like, oh man, maybe I need to add party pass. I really promised everybody I wasn't going to do that. And then other people come and say, hey, I really want to come to your event, but I can only do Sunday. Can I do Sunday? And then you go like, oh, damn, I need the money. I don't have. That's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens. So I think as an attendee, ask the tough questions. If you're going to go for something that is promising to be very specific and not just the regular festival, ask questions to the organizer and go like, hey, I really want to do this, but I've had experiences before where the promise wasn't delivered. I want to know what's your position on this, and there are people that you can just trust.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If there are people around the world that if they say they're organizing something like that, I know they will, because they've built that trust over time. No matter what happens, it's going to be a great event. And if not equal to what they promise, even better.
Mm.
And if there's any compromise, they're going to be upfront and honest and say, hey guys, I'm thinking about switching and doing something like this. Is this okay with you? Like not hiding anything. That to me, I think is the huge thing, because even as teachers, sometimes we're surprised in the moment. We arrive thinking that the event is one thing, and then suddenly the event is completely different. And trust us, the artist is just as surprised as the attendees. And then the organizers go like, hey guys, so yeah, we had to change a few things, but everything's going to be great. Let's have fun. Let's go. Yay. And we're like, oh, damn. Okay. Let's just make sure everybody's happy, because in the end of the day, if we are there, we're going to do our best. Of course. Otherwise, it does burn us a little.
Yeah. I think the thing that you mentioned of the day pass, I can only come this day, they have a party pass, all of these things.
No.
It requires, and that's the tricky part too. That's the tricky part about the intention, the intentionality. There is a moment, there's a process of education, of presenting people with this new idea, facing the backlash, up to the point in which people get used to it. They ask for it, and expect it. When now regular classes in DC, we started doing assessments for the first time. It was a thing. Messages on WhatsApp, well, but I want to take this class. I think I can take this class. Come for the assessment. No, I don't think I need to do an assessment. Nowadays, people ask, when is the assessment? So it was a process. And
never easy. But one thing that I do keep in mind quite a lot. Hard choices now, easy life later. That is something that I try to, every time I have a tough decision to make, or something that I know some people are not going to like it, but I have spoken to a lot of people and everybody agrees it's good for the future of the community.
Yeah.
I go like, okay, let's go through the pain right now, because it's a learning process.
Yeah.
But in the future, we all agree it's going to be better.
Yeah. And with that comes the preparation for it, I think, which is sometimes the thing we miss, the preparation for the backlash. Sometimes that preparation can be psychological, emotional preparation, and the financial preparation. Some places I have witnessed, they have a form of association kind of thing where they save money or they charge a monthly thing, and they create an account, and that account has the money to pay for things in case.
It's like a club.
Yeah, it's like a club. Ticket sales don't go. There are ways. And what has been really cool to observe is when that system is in place, how different it is to teach. Because there is a peace of mind of sorts in the organizers.
Yeah.
That peace of mind exudes around, and everything is more calm. And when you also have that system already in place. So there was a weekend there that we did recently where there is a system in place. It's leveled classes. People know how it works. People know how it goes. So it was one of the few times that we had the opportunity to teach a group of intermediate dancers that were actually intermediates and a group of advanced dancers that were actually advanced. And there were less people in the room, a lot less people in the room. And sometimes when there's less people in the room, my mind, who also organizes from time to time and is around organizer, is thinking, are they paying for it? Are we? Is that enough to pay for the whole thing? While in this event, that was not in my mind because the organizers already told us how it works and everything else. So the weekender being something that they do for the students, as a gift for the students, as something more for the students. So that's the intention behind it. And I love that idea. It was very inspirational and made me start thinking of everybody else. You know, when you organize an event, if you are an organizer and listening to us, what is the intention that you have for the event? What is the experience you want people that are participating to go through? And what are the systems that you have in place to accommodate for the changes that happen that allows you to keep the initial intention? And what happens when you need to change the intention? How does it feel for you? How does that go? Because I think we could use more opportunities, more events in which it's a very clear why that event exists, you know, and when people get into it, they go into this very specific and new offering that is different, that they will get something out of it that they would not otherwise get in other opportunities. So I leave this reflection here that is very much alive in me right now as I prepare for events coming up in the rest of the year. And as I think about things that we could do with that mindset, not the mindset of scarcity, but the mindset of abundance. You know, not thinking about what we are unable to do, thinking about what we are able to do, and making me thinking too, how many other decisions in life we make out of scarcity, not out of abundance, out of what is it that I'm missing? What is it that I don't want to miss? What is it that I'm losing? What is it that I don't want to lose? And then we make a decision based on that. You know, like that vacation we don't take, that food we don't eat because we are afraid of not having this later, not having that. So it's very complicated to make things work while recognizing stuff. Also, leaving space to try, to give it a go and see how it works.
And let me be honest here. If there are enough learning opportunities in your community, we don't need weekenders all the time. If there are weekenders all the time, we probably don't need festivals all the time. If there's festivals all the time, we're in big trouble. Like, honestly, yes, guys, no. Oh, June doesn't have a festival. We don't need another festival because there's one in May, there's one in July. We don't need a festival in June. We don't need a weekender in June just because that month is empty. Organize for community things. Organize people to get together, people to dance, people to maybe practice, or just go to the movies or go to the park and, I don't know, organize other things. Because I think a lot of the times organizers do want, and local dancers want a festival or some sort of large weekender because they want the community to grow. Great. But then what happens? The people in the community, they're happy the way it is. They didn't want that. Maybe 2 or 3 people who convinced you want that. But the rest of the community, they're happy with the regular classes, their Sunday social. And then you don't sell enough tickets. And you're like, I don't know, my students don't want to come. So then I had to invite people from other cities. And then I had to give them like half price. So I had to do a group booking. And there's 10 people coming from here, 5 people coming from there. And then your intention to grow and please your own community is not there anymore. Multiple times we've had these in weekenders that we were teaching, the organizer told us, and just hearing from other organizers where they wanted to do something for their own community, thinking it would be great, but then it backfired because in the end of the day, there was no need. It was just a few people saying, yay, let's do this. Yay, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
So when people come to me and say, hey, Alison, why don't you organize a social? I'm like, no. Oh, we need a social. Cool. Do you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not doing it. I've done so many socials and things like that, but I don't see the need. I just don't see the need. I did the one in BraZouky in Australia because there was a need there. We did the one in the US in a very small scale because we felt like, okay, this could be a nice family meeting here for the local dancers. And I knew from the very beginning, I'm going to organize with this amount of people because this amount of people is what we can have in DC for sure. For sure, I can close the event with a big smile with this amount of people. I didn't think people were going to come from New York, from Miami, from Denver, from Philadelphia. No, I just thought, okay, with this amount of people. Same thing when we did in Germany and Vietnam. We're like, okay, how many people can we get from the local community? Then we budget around that. But still conservatively.
Mm-hmm.
Because often the issue with the organizers that have to pivot, not in a good way, but have to pivot, is that they go like, oh, like quick math. If we get 50 people, we get this amount of money, 2 artists, 2 flights, and yeah, I got it. Yeah, no problem. We can do it. We can do it. I'm like, bro. If you don't have a spreadsheet with multiple tabs and formula going back and forth, you probably do not consider every single cost. Let me tell you, a napkin math is not going to cut it because on the day you have to pick up somebody from the airport, nobody can. So what can you do? Uber is not cheap.
And most airports are far away from the city.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just on Uber on that weekend, you spend $500. That's it. Guys, $500 on a small weekender. That's like 5 passes.
Yeah. You start thinking about life in passes sales.
Exactly. And you wanted to have an intensive, intimate event with 20 people, but it takes 5 people just to pay for Uber.
Yeah.
I'm just going to stop here. I can go on.
Yeah. It's tough. Like we said, we acknowledge so much the hardships of making things happen. We acknowledge so much the need to low costs, to raise prices, to raise ticket prices, and know these difficulties completely. The thing for me and the invitation for everybody, for us here, is the mentality behind it and shifting it to try and create something that comes from a very, very powerful intention, moving with integrity the whole time. I got really inspired last year when I met, during the retreat in Bali, a dancer who used to be in the circuit, in the salsa circuit. Yeah, very present, but started to feel unhappy with the way things are being done. Wanting something a little bit more specific, something a little bit more intentional with specific group of people. So she broke away from that circuit and created her own thing, her own events for a limited amount of people, very specific thing. And moving from a place of, we're going to make it work. And she sold out. All her events are sold out. It's a smaller thing, so it's easier to make it happen. And the energy that she moved from was the energy of, let's go, let's make it happen. Of course, understanding the finances of everything, having a system in place. For example, I'm going to confess something for you guys. I am preparing myself financially to do movements like this, to start getting some specific experiences going to feed my teaching soul. And in a way that if I don't break even, if I don't make money, I'm not going to go crazy. You know, allow myself some leg room to not make money or to just break even. So there's a preparation for it. Yeah. So the things that we are saying is not hypocrisy, that we are not practicing the things that we are preaching. And see how it goes. I'm really curious to see how it goes. Having seen the power of events that happen when they are organized with this energy behind them, and like experiencing it as a facilitator, half facilitator, sometimes half participant, it's amazing. It's incredible. And I want more of that.
And I'll leave one last tip. Nowadays, it's very easy to go on any AI chatbot and go like, how much would cost a weekender with a Brazilian Zouk teacher? Trust, they have that knowledge. And then here is the real deal. Once they give you that very happy, high energy, positive AI chat, let's go. It's only going to cost you this much. Ask again. Are you sure? Because I want to now know what else do I have to pay on a daily basis? How much will artists cost in terms of food and transportation every day? What are the hotel costs, accommodation costs?
Miscellaneous, all this.
Everything, because I was talking to Gui about this earlier today. AI is going to answer with what makes you happiest first. And then you have to dig. And then the more you dig, that's when you find out. So, if you don't even know where to start there. And then if you need more help, contact us, contact somebody in the community. Because once you kind of have a little bit of a chat and back and forth, you're going to feel more empowered to continue with your plan, or empowered to not continue with your plan because you've seen the monster and you're like, wow, I'm glad I saw the monster before I went there.
Yes, that made me think of this beautiful idea, I think, being very biased, of running the prototype of your event. Do a prototype of it.
Yeah.
See if the format works, if the idea works. Prototype it, invest in it. It is an investment. You might lose some money. And just see how it runs. It's like talk to AI, do all the things and run.
Don't trust it 100%, but dig it and ask tough questions. The numbers and the directions might be wrong, but once you've spoken to it a little bit, you'll get an idea and go like, okay, that gave me a lot to think about.
Yeah. And when someone participates in something that they can see, there is a really rich thought process behind, they will notice.
And people will follow and they will pay premium.
Exactly.
They will pay premium. What we have too much in the community, I think in the end of the day, is too much of the same. But when you create something intentional and you follow through and you've built a brand or a trust with the community, don't worry about it. There's people paying $10,000 to spend 2 days with somebody speaking on the stage. Look, people will show up. I'm not going to say like they're just going to pay for whatever. But once you build the trust and you've delivered every time and you're open about it, don't worry. It's not going to be a problem financially, I think. But we don't need a lot of the same anymore. We've got too much of the same.
Yeah, guys, I think the time is a good time. There is a space in the market, in our market, for intensives, for this thing and that thing, for, events where it's very specific, events where you go in there and you know that you're going to learn about this thing very deeply. For the facilitators, it's a joy. We can say for experience, it's a joy when you are with a group that are there, knowing what they're going to get, knowing what they're there for. And the level of engagement is different, very different from when you are in an event that had this initial idea and then became this thing, and the people who came for this one, and then the people who came for this one, and they are in the same room, and you are the facilitator there, and you see that the intentions of the people in the room don't match and don't match the initial intention of the organizer. And you are witnessing all of that. It's a very different energy. And I would love for us to have more of this synchronized wavelength, in levels of what we're here for, what we're doing, why we're doing, and what we're going to get from it.
Yeah. Well, that's it, guys. Hopefully there was some structure to our thoughts here that you could understand, because we're very passionate about it. So it can get a little messy. But look, this is it. It's the community that we love so much, and we're going to spend as much time as we can to help with whatever we can. So thank you for being here. Don't forget to support us by subscribing, following, sharing this with a friend, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you, everybody. Beijos, abraços, and ciao.
Bye, everyone.